and the bike's absolutely soaked. There you go, look. Oh, the old oxblood seat. Not great, but hey, oh. Morning all, it's triumphbikerman here. I hope everyone is well, and welcome to a little pootle around on a Saturday grey morning on my Triumph Thruxton Ace Cafe Edition. Thank you very much for your comments, and I've even got a couple of subscribers now from the European tour that I've now managed to upload onto YouTube. Wow, it's something that I have fond memories of on my Tiger, but no, it's been great, and a couple of the comments have been really encouraging, so I thought I would keep this up now and keep uploading the odd little video from time to time. But it's certainly got my palate wet now to do more tours. I do go out on the Tiger quite often. I do quite a few trips to Scotland. However, I have now booked on the Pyrenees tour for next year, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm in North Lincolnshire at the moment, and in the background there, a bit grey and murky today, so you might not be able to see it, is the Humber Bridge. So I'm going to just take a gentle little pootle across to the Humber Bridge and park the bike up and just talk to you a little bit about the bike, my reasons for buying it, and a couple of specifications about the bike and why I love this so much. So I'll switch it off now and speak to you soon. The land around here is owned by none other than Lord Sheffield, who is David Cameron's father-in-law, would you believe? So yeah, it's all a bit gentrified around here, and blimey, if you want to buy any land around here or anything like that, you've got to go through this mini monarchy. One of my ex-work colleagues has a lovely place around here, and she's renovated a chapel and bought extra land, and every time she's had to do that, she's had to go through the whole process of satisfying Lord Sheffield. Even after over 40 years, when I look at this, when I look at the bridge in all its glory, I just think what an engineering marvel that was, and still is. Let's say at one point it was the longest single span bridge in the world. Fantastic. So on this side of the bridge it's Barton upon Humber. On the other side of the bridge it's Hessel, over on the north bank. And there in the distance is the city of Hull, with the river Humber running through the estuary past Immingham, etc., over to the North Sea. There have been people in the past that have actually swam the river, and on very low tide at certain times of the year you can actually walk across, believe it or not. Yeah, it's got a timeline as to when the bridge actually started. So the first bridge scheme was put forward in 1860s, and it was officially opened to traffic on the 24th of June 1981. The formal opening was on the 17th of July by Queen Elizabeth II, RIP. Yeah, and when I come now it still brings back memories really of when I was a child. Yeah, it's really starting to come down a bit now, but hey-o, you can't do anything about it when you're caught out. I'll have to dry the thing off a little bit though when I get back. Anyhow, that was lovely. Nice full English breakfast. People come from all over Lincolnshire actually for the breakfast down here. It's that nice. And what we'll do is we'll take the little trip back the scenic route, although it's not going to be that scenic with all this chucking down, but hey-o. So the road for the scenic route is closed. I've just had to do a bit of a U-turn and come back onto the main road, which is great when it's siling it down, but not to worry. Let's have a look. Should we go? We'll go this way. Yeah, we'll go this way. So that was lovely to see Dave again. He's a really great bloke, is Dave from Pasturewood Fisheries, and he supports our fishing charities. We have an annual fishing match over here, and we've just had it back in August, and he supports it by letting us keep the peg fees to go towards a charity, and he's very kindly put another £100 into it, which is really, really nice of them. Great bloke, great family. Right, so the little trek back home. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to just talk about actually. The main thing that I wanted to just pick up on was the bike itself and why I love the Ace Cafe Thruxton so much. So I wanted to give a bit of history as to why I've had two of them. So go back to 2015 when this model actually came out. It was late 2014, 2015, and what Triumph did, they brought out this version to commemorate the Ace Cafe, which is an infamous biker's haunt over in North London throughout the 60s and 70s. Well, still is now, to be fair. And they brought this bike out to commemorate it somewhat. And by that time, 2015, I'd already had my street triple for quite a while, a couple of years or so. But I'd always fancied these old school type Thruxtons, always. And I'd held off, and when this one came out, basically I just couldn't resist it, and the dealership that I bought the street triple from, I asked them to source me an Ace Cafe one. So, oh, that sounds lovely, that, doesn't it? So at that point I got myself the Ace Cafe Thruxton. Fantastic bike, loved it, and I had it for about, it was, I think, about COVID time. I'd had it for 5 years, and I'd done a couple of rides in it. Well, I'd done a couple of DGR rides, and look at it coming down now. Oh, blimey. And the only issue was with it is that it is just a bike to have a bit of a blast out from time to time. It's not one that I can take on extended tours. And the other thing is, around 10 years ago I had a couple of discs out of my back which make it, after a prolonged ride, quite uncomfortable. So it's not really ideal. And it came to about COVID time. I've done about 700 miles on that particular Thruxton, of which there were only 100 allocated to the UK, and I ummed and ahed and eventually put it up for sale. And the day that the bike was collected was probably one of the saddest days. It was so sad, and I just kept on regretting it ever since. So fast forward, and my wife always thinks she's right. In this case she was. She said you would regret selling it in the end. So what I did at that point, I then started looking around for another one, and because there are only 100 allocated to the UK, they didn't come up very often for sale. And the ones that would come up for sale that have really high mileage, and the one that I sold was about 700 miles. So again, I just wanted to wait for the right one, and some of the prices were ridiculous because of the limited edition tag that they've got. So come and fast forward to November last year, 2024. I was just having a quick look around. I can't remember now whether it was Auto Trader or something like that, and I just happened to see this one that I'm riding now. I hadn't done stupid miles, something like I don't know, 1200 miles. A couple of elderly careful owners, and came with the Tours exhausts, which sound beautiful. So I was straight on to the guy that was selling the bike, and luckily for me it'd been messed around by a couple of dealerships and a couple of other people. You know, the sort that you get, you know, the time wastery type that have no intention of buying, and it's quite easy just to lose your rag a little bit with these sort of people. And I think when I rung, he was just on the back end of another time waster, so probably caught it right. Agreed a deal. I didn't think anything more of it. You know, he did me a quick look around on FaceTime, and I saw that it was just up my street, so that was it. I sent him a deposit over there and then. I know it's a little bit dodgy, or it's not recommended to send money across to someone you don't know, but I just had a good feeling about this guy. Arranged a company to go and collect the bike, and before you know it, it was in my garage. So what they tend to do, and I've done this a couple of times now, you send a small deposit just to show that you're interested and you're serious, and then as soon as the guy goes over for collection, you know, whichever company it is, he looks over the bike, just makes sure it's okay and as described, and then before the bike and the logbook are handed over, I do the money transfer, and that's it. So yeah, I really fell on my feet buying this at the time. And again, it's not going to be one for long tours, etc. And when I do get back to the garage a little bit later on today, I'll just give you a little bit of a walk around. I was going to do it actually outside, but as you can see, it's absolutely dripping wet now, so probably won't be a very good talk around the bike. So yeah, that's the story of how I got my second Ace Cafe. And I was having a chat with that bloke on the motorbike when we had a bit of a one-to-one on his channel not long ago, and he asked me the question, you know, if money was no object, what bike would you choose? And I think my answer to him at the time was, look, I'm fairly lucky in the fact that I've got 3 bikes and I love all 3 of them. But if there was one, Triumph did Ace version of the T120 as well. They are brilliant at bringing these little bits and pieces and different models out, you know, to catch people like me. It was bought out in 2019, and I think it's like a black and grey version. Again, there were only a couple of hundred, I think, allocated to the UK. They don't come up for sale very often. There was one up for sale about 6 or 7 months ago, actually thinking about putting an inquiry in for, but it didn't take too long and it sold pretty quickly. So I think if I had the choice just to finish things off, if you like. I'd love to have that T120, but you never know. The winter season's coming and new models are being bought out all the time, so if I do get the chance again, then we'll have a look and see if we can get one at the right price. Anyhow, let me speak to you about time wasters. I've just been talking about the guy that I bought this Ace from, who was hounded by time wasters, and I've got a time waster of all time wasters to talk to you about now. So bought this bike in November 2024, and you know, it was a long dark winter, and over the winter I was thinking to myself, blimey, it's taken me that long to find a decent Ace. But at that point, tried to justify it, as you do. It's going to be painful on the wrists, my back's not going to be able to take a mile, this, that and the other. So I thought, do you know what, maybe I have made the wrong decision in buying this again, and it's just not for me. Maybe a T120, something like that, but not the Thruxton. So come to about April time, I'd convinced myself, much to the annoyance of my wife, to put this up for sale. So, you know, let's just feel what the market's like. And what I did do, again, I convinced myself, stuck it up on Marketplace and put an advert on eBay. So a couple of places I thought, well, I'm going to ask for a certain amount of money. If it doesn't sell, it's absolutely fine, but if I do get the money that I want, then that's also okay, and I'll look out for a T120 instead. So about April time, I got a message off a guy who isn't a million miles away. He was from the North Bank, so you know, around sort of Hull area. You watch, he'll be watching this video. I hope he's not a subscriber. Anyhow, so I got a message from him, and he said, will you take X amount of money for it, which was quite a drop from what I was originally asking for. So I said no, unfortunately not, but you know, keep your eyes open. There are a couple of others on the market, and there were, you know, that were considerably higher mileage. So mine at the time had done about 1200 miles, something like that, so it's still considered to be a low mileage example. So he messaged a couple of other times as well on Marketplace, you know, playing the softly guy, really, thinking that I'd relent and just accept his offer. Well, I wasn't going to, you know, just thought it'd be better off in the garage. Don't worry about that. So fast forward about a couple of weeks or so, and he'd seen my eBay advert and messaged me through eBay. I'd like to come and see the bike, and he'd been quite relentless with his messages from that time on. So he'd messaged me about another 2 or 3 times, and I said, look, I ain't going to take the money that you're asking, but I'll accept X, Y and Z, which was a bit more than he was wanting to pay, and it was a bit lower than what I really wanted to accept. But I thought, do you know what, he looks as though he really wants it. He's spent a lot of time, you know, messaging me this, that and the other, so that's the price. And he actually put down on the message, all right, okay, so you will accept this. And I said, look, okay, if you're seriously interested, then you know, we can agree a price there. Now at that point, I'd had 2 other people also inquiring about the bike that looked pretty serious. One of them wasn't too far away from where I lived, another one was from Manchester, and one of the guys come over to have a look at it, who doesn't live far from me. Spent a lot of time, you know, poking it, looking at it, starting it and all the rest of it, and offered me a stupid amount, which obviously I said no to, and then said he was going to keep an eye on the auction. Well, I had a reserve set, so if it didn't hit the reserve, then it wasn't going to be going anywhere. And then the guy from Manchester wanted to come around a particular Saturday to have a look at it. At the same time, the guy not living far from me wanted to come again on the Saturday, and the guy on the north bank, the one that had been needlessly messaging me about the bike, saying it was great, just what he was looking for, etc, 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 was messaging me. And this was on the Thursday and the Friday. So I told all interested parties that I've got 3 people wanting to come and view at the same time, and it was first come, first served, strictly that basis. And do you know what, even at that point I didn't feel comfortable, because I didn't really want to sell. But if someone, you know, put the pound notes in front of me, didn't want to mess about, then I could think about having a look for a T120 instead. So the guy over on the north bank, when I told him that the 2 guys were already lined up for the Saturday, he wanted to come down on the Friday. So fine, okay, it was about tea time, about 6 or 7 o'clock or something like that, and it was just the nights were getting a bit longer at the time. So I said, you know, why not, I've got some lights in the garage as well. So he scooted down. I think it took him about 40 minutes to come down, 40-45 minutes, and he came down with his girlfriend. Not in short, he was about 6'5", and she was about, I don't know, 4'9", so they looked an odd couple from the outset. Anyhow, I took him into the Triumph cave, and he looked around it. I left him for about 10 minutes, and it was weird because all you could see was his girlfriend taking pictures of the Triumph cave and him on the bike. So so he kept on sitting on it, and I think he wanted a picture of what he looked like at every angle. It was so strange. And I went back in. He says, yes, it's just what I'm after. It's a bike that I'm looking for. So we had the opportunity then on the Friday night before the guys come over on the Saturday. But he said, right, I'll have a little think about it and then let me know how it goes tomorrow. At which point I said to him that if the bike sells, it sells, which, you know, I'm not going to take a penny under what I've agreed with all 3 of you, which was a reserve on eBay. So if it doesn't sell, then it's still on the market potentially. But in my heart of hearts, I didn't really want to sell it, so I was kind of putting him off to a certain extent and saying, look, well, think about it, it's a big purchase, etc, etc. So he said to me he's going to have a little think overnight and get back to me in the morning. That's fine. He messages me in the morning, definitely want it, I've got the money, I'm going to put the money to one side and I'm going to contact you. Okay, that's fine. He didn't contact me. So at this point I told the guy from Manchester, I said, look, it's looking like selling, to be fair, so I didn't really want him to come all the way across and, you know, be disappointed. So I told him on the outset. I'd also told the guy in Scunny as well, who was waiting until the auction had ended, and said it's looking like it's going to be sold to this particular gentleman that had come round to have a look at it, and he just seemed as though he wanted it. And then about another day later, the guy on the north bank sent another message. So he said, is the bike sold? I said, no, it isn't sold, because A, I'm not 100% convinced that I want to sell it, and B, you said that you'd really wanted it, and I didn't really want to sell him it by this time. So nah, you know, something just didn't seem right. And then another message off him about a day later saying, I really want this bike. That was it, and I never heard from him again since. Not one thing, not anything. So talk about mega time wasters. I can see why. I mean, look, it's a big purchase at the end of the day. We're not talking a loaf of bread, are we? You know, or a pint of milk. You know, it's a few quid's worth of bike. It's like a car. There are many other bikes on the road, so, you know, there's going to be others if he missed out on this one. But why didn't he just tell me that he'd changed his mind? Aren't human beings really weird? That's all it took really. Now I'm just considering other bikes, or I'm just going to look at other bits, and no one's any the wiser. Isn't that what life's supposed to be about? Communication. Anyway, I didn't hear one single thing, but he did sound like a bit of a dreamer, because while he was sat on it, you know, telling me about the love of, you know, Thruxtons and my bike in particular, all the rest of it, he was going on about the bike shed in London, how cool it'd be to arrive at the bike shed, you know, in my bike. And you know, I think that's why he was getting his missus to take all these pictures. But you know, I took that as a sign. I wasn't really 100% behind selling it, and that literally made my mind up. That's when I started to do a couple of bits to the bike, like put some header wraps on, etc, etc, and I, you know, got it taxed, and it was on sawn at the time, and started riding it. And you know, that guy did me a massive favour, an absolutely massive favour that even he doesn't realise. But yeah, that was that. Isn't it strange? Anyway, we're nearly back home. I'm wet through, and strangely enough it's just stopped raining. I don't really know whether I should be riding at the moment actually, because I've got a frozen shoulder at the minute. My left side shoulder is really painful, not so much when I'm out like I am now, but when I rotate the arm and take it to the side. And I've been having some physio from work. You know, I've got private medical benefits, so for the last 3 weeks I've just been having a bit of physio, and it doesn't seem to have made any difference whatsoever. It's still really painful, and I'm going a couple of times a week at the moment. However, when I went yesterday, it was like the senior physio that took me under a wing for a session, and blimey, could this woman torture? Oh my word. You know, she didn't make it as a physio, she could make it as a, I don't know, Elizabethan torturer. She had me flat on my back, and she was moving my arm around in all sorts of angles and sticking her hand in little holes in my shoulder. And at one point all you could hear was me go, "Ah!" And I kid you not, the people in the waiting room, they must have had the shock of their lives to hear that. Jesus, and I can really feel it today as well. I can really feel it. I'm going to very shortly park up in my garage and just go round the Ace for you, just to give you a few facts and figures. But no, it's been a bit of a wet ride, but it's also been a lovely ride bringing it out. Whoosh! Well, what a ride that was. Out there now is torrential. It's really siling it down, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of drying and a bit of cleaning here. Look at that. It's going to take some doing, isn't it? Some right muck coming off there, but hey-o, that's the sort of thing that happens when you're caught out in the rain. I'll just switch this off now, and then I'll that's better. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a job for maybe tomorrow, or I don't know, maybe a little bit later on today. But just thought I'd go through a couple of the bits on the Ace Edition that are a little bit different from the normal standard models. So the first thing you can probably see is that the livery is Thruxton Ace 900 on the side, and it's got black and white tank. They're beautiful. Look at that. And then you've got the little plaque on the yoke, Thruxton Ace. And then you've got this seat here, which is termed as oxblood. It's an oxblood type seat, which is rather fancy. It is quite comfortable, to be fair. It's a pretty nice place to park your backside. Now these pipes here are not strictly speaking road legal, so the tours, and To be fair, I don't really think that they are over the top on the noise front. They lay out a nice burble, which I'm hoping that the camera picked up. But the standard ones, they're okay. The thing that I had recently done was I had these header wraps put on for 2 or 3 different reasons really. First of all, I think they look alright. Second thing, it protects the metalwork. And the third thing is that you'll know if you own one of these bikes that they tend to get really hot. And I've caught myself out a few times now coming back from a ride, or even maybe 10 minutes after a ride, I'll just chuck the cover on, and before you know it, it's stuck to it and melted. So I thought we'll try them as something different. The one thing that I'm looking out for at the moment is a nice saddle bag for the back there. I'm hoping to get some rails, or even if it's just one side. I just think it's handy just to have a little saddle bag on the back, just to keep you locking it, maybe a drink or two, something like that for a bit of a ride, which is what I'm planning on doing with this moving forward. Now that I'm definitely keeping it, this is not going anywhere now. A couple of facts and figures, not that these sort of things really worry me or bother me, but they say that they chuck out around about 69-70 brake horsepower. Now it's perfectly fine for my needs, just for pootling around from time to time, and keeps up with modern day traffic. It's got a high speed of, they say, 115 mile an hour, but I certainly won't be doing anything like that at all. I think 70-80 mile an hour, and it has these little nuances where if you go above sort of 70 mile an hour, you can feel the or see the mirrors shaking. I don't think it's really that type of bike. You just take your time with them, and just, as I say, just potter about and pootle really, and 69 brake horsepower is more than enough for these type of bikes. They are air cooled. The fuel capacity is around 16 litres. The thing that I would say about this bike, if you are considering buying one, is that they are pretty heavy. This is supposed to be 230 kilograms, which on the face of it is like a medium-sized adventure bike, which is similar to my Tiger over there. Well, not far short of my Tiger, whereas if you compare it to something like my Street Triple, which is about 170 kilograms, very easy to ride and a lot easier to handle. The front tyre size is 100 by 90, which is 18 inch, and the rear tyre is a 17 inch. And they do say on these that the tank range is about 150 miles, so I've not yet tested that. I think the furthest ride that I did, which was on my other Ace Thruxton, was about 120 miles, and I think I needed a bit of a fill up then, so you take that really with a pinch of salt. So there's the Tiger. It's been out a few times since I got back from Europe, so it does need a proper clean and a bit of a wash down and grease up before it's put up for the winter. Yes, I know I don't tend to ride bikes in the winter, but it's had a decent bit of mileage put on it this year, and I'm really hoping that we'll make the most of it next year as well. As I say, we've got the Pyrenees tour booked, which is in, I think it's July next year, and don't know whether you've been looking, and I'm always on the lookout for certain places to visit, but there's some fantastic YouTube videos out at the moment. In particular, the Man Astray, who's been doing a tour of Norway, and the adventure bike riders, I think Richard and Eva, and they've been touring all over Scandinavia, and I think at the moment they're somewhere like Bosnia, which also looks fantastic. So there's so many different places in Europe. I've seen a couple of videos on Croatia as well, which looks fantastic, and even Romania. There's so many different places in Europe, and really I would love to do a couple of tours next year overseas. Right, so the garage door's down. I'm just about to knock it on the head for the day. Stuck the old Optimate in the Thruxton there. I do appreciate your views, by the way, and I've got a couple of subscribers now, which is always nice to have. But I am looking to put some more videos on soon of my little trips and bits and bats, anything in relation to the bikes and what I actually do with the bikes. But subscriptions always help, and it just goes to show, as a newbie, and just to prove a point to my kids that I can actually do something like this and embrace a bit of new technology. I'm never going to be the best. I don't I don't purport to be an itchy boots or anyone like that, but I am giving it a go. So if you've got any words of wisdom or anything you'd like to see, or anything you'd like, or any improvements to be made to the channel, then much appreciated if you could give me some feedback. But I really do appreciate it, and if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that would be fantastic. So until the next time we speak, I'm going to rest my shoulder now before my next visit to the shall we say torturer over in my local town, and just take it easy over the weekend. But have a great weekend, have a great week, guys, and Triumphbikerman will speak to you soon. Bye for now.
Yeah.